Welcome back to DTIT. DTIT is a place where you can find help on common IT issues. My name is Dave. This format is helpful for those who are new users or perhaps a student or someone new to the trade. Today is going to be a little different. We're going to be trying to troubleshoot a common issue. In this case today is going to be having no internet connection and trying how to figure out how we can get connectivity back. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to check in dealing with diagnosing this problem, you're going to look to see if you're using a laptop, you're going to be looking to see if you have a network switch. That will either be on the motherboard itself and your function row, that's the top row, and a lot of times you'll have what looks like a radio tower with some little signals coming off of it, or it could be on the side of your laptop on either side. It depends. It varies from model to model. That there's a switch on it that you want to make sure that that network switch is in a proper position. It needs to be on so you can get a Wi-Fi signal. The other thing that you need to check that's on your keyboard, if you don't have a network switch that looks like the ones we've shown at the top, is your Wi-Fi network or your laptop in airplane mode. By having the airplane mode enabled, it will not send a signal or be able to receive a Wi-Fi signal. So you need to make sure that your airplane mode is not on. So if your device cannot connect to this network, it's possible that your Wi-Fi router is having an issue, or the router itself. If it's the router itself, you're going to contact your internet provider to see about getting a new router. But we'll go further in how to diagnose some of these issues here next. Okay, so our next step that we're going to be dealing with is we're going to check to see the available networks. And you're going to do that by checking down on the bottom right of your taskbar. You'll have an area where you can go to check to see a listing of networks. And you're wanting to see, is the network that you're trying to connect to, is it listed? And if it's listed, we need to see about trying to reconnect to that if it's not connected. You may have to re-put in a password right underneath where it says Wi-Fi. It'll say, or excuse me, right above where it says disconnect or connect. There'll be a little box that shows up. That's where you'll retype a password, and you want to make sure that if something's already showing in that box, you want to recheck that password spelling because that could be an issue there and attempt to reconnect that. So if that does not work after you've rechecked your spelling, re-entered your password, try connecting a different device to this same network to see if that works. Because if another device can connect to that same network, then the device that you're currently on is having the problem and it's not your router. Your router is functioning properly for another device, so that's clearly not your problem. It's now getting narrowed down to your machine. If no device can connect, this current device you're on or say another device, then the possibility is either the Wi-Fi router itself is having an issue or the router. Yet again, like we covered on the last slide, if it's your router itself, you're going to contact your internet service provider and they can get you a new router. The Wi-Fi router itself, if it's damaged, it's not going to send the signal or send a message that it gets from your router. So those are your two issues that we have to deal with. Okay, just for covering all bases for training purposes, let's just say that we want to verify connectivity of your machine. We would do that by sending a command, a ping command, and that would be entering in an IP address that you may know. In this case, we'll use Google to send it out. And once you send that, it'll send packets out to your address and you'll receive back, and you can see if you have any data loss, which can help you with diagnosing connectivity issues. But that's when you know that you have a network connection. But just for training purposes, covering all bases, we're showing you how to deal with the ping command. Okay, one more thing that we can do with dealing with connectivity issues. Say that you're already, you know you have a connection, but you're having your connectivity is slow. You know, the website's taking a bit to load, or going in between websites seems to be slow. There's a couple things we can do with that. If your machine is using DHCP, that's having a dynamic IP address that gets assigned from a pool of addresses that your machine just chooses. What we can do is get a new DHCP address. And one of the things it would do for that would be you'd use the command line. You'd go in CMD and you'd go in. You would type in ipconfig, ipconfig space slash release. This is going to let go of the current IP address that your machine was assigned so you can get a new one. And that's our next step, is using the same command, ipconfig, and this time we're going to do space slash renew. This is going to receive a new DHCP address, a dynamic address, from its pool of available IP addresses that if there was something for whatever reason, which lots of times in computers happens, the you can have an unknown snag. Well, an easy, simple thing to do is just release your address and renew it to get a new one. If both of those don't work, another thing you can do would be to flush your DNS. That is your list or table of connections your computer has made before. It just deletes that whole list, and whenever you go to a website in the future, it obtains a DNS query to how to locate that and to deal with name resolution from a IP address versus the name, like we use in our example with a IP address in ping 8.8.8.8. You could either type in that or ping google.com. That's using the DNS cache, the domain name system. So how you would flush that, ipconfig command again, ipconfig space / flush DNS, all one word. And you'd hit enter with that, and that should help you with your connection issues. Okay, so after all of that, we can narrow it down to two specific things. If after you've verified the spelling of your password and it's correct, and you've tried to connect and you still cannot connect, you've tried connecting to that same network using another device, and it still has an issue of not having connection, you can try releasing and renewing the DHCP address and or flushing your DNS, your domain name system. If none of that is helping you, then your router has an issue on your machine. You know that for sure. Or the only potential problem, which is not as likely, but is also possible, that the network adapter or the network adapter card could have an issue. I have seen that in the past where the NIC card, the NIC, that has died, but chances are it'll be the router itself, and you can obtain a new one from the internet service provider. So at that place, like we said, you'd want to replace either the network adapter or the router. That's going to be likely your two candidates, but the first one would probably likely be your router. We replace that, and you'll be good to go. Okay, well, I thank you for stopping by DTIT today. I hope that you found this video helpful. This video was not meant to be exhaustive of exacting of every detail that's possible. It's just giving you the diagnose process of how try to figure out how to narrow it down to your options and what might need to be done to mitigate those problems. But if you found this helpful, please hit like, share, and subscribe. I have other videos like this on DTIT on YouTube, and there'll be many more to come. So thank you again. Have a good day.